Amazing. I think we might have peaked a little bit early. Oh, right. Okay. Let me. So, hey, welcome. Hello. Right. So let's quickly go around the room and let's say who it was. In fact, blind date test from countdown to blind date. Paul Holbrook, what's your name and where do you come from?
My name's Paul Holbrook and I come from Diary Detox. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Rupert. Yeah, that's all I wanted to share. Who are you, Rupert?
My name's Rupert, and I am from Event Site Design, aka the Cadman.
Oh wow! So, how do you pronounce your surname? That's why I just introduced you as Rupert.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Bassadoni. But if you go on to my profile picture, where you've got the little pronunciation option, you get to hear just something special.
I love it when people mispronounce the word pronunciation.
Did I? What did I say?
Pronunciation.
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 Paul, so I think I say a lot of words different to everybody else. So I hope you're not going to be doing this for the whole 30 minutes.
Because we literally talk about nothing else.
Yeah, and then what's this there? Pete Can, the laughter man. Who are you?
I'm Pete Can, the laughter man. That's who I am. From Bristol, Lee. Bristol, yeah. Southwest.
Amazing, perfect. So we've got 4 people from 4 different parts of the world, country, LinkedIn, and what we've done, we've just put this little thing together. When I say we've put it together, we've not put it together at all. We've just joined together. This is unscripted, not that you can tell. We just want to have a little chat about Clubhouse. We've been in Clubhouse now for the last 10 days-ish. And I thought it'd be quite good just to have a little conversation because there's this FOMO thing that everybody who's not in it wants to be in it, and everybody's in it. Some of them still want to be in it, and some of them don't. So, Pete Can, what is Clubhouse?
It's something that takes your life away if you're not careful. That's what I say. It's basically a platform. It's a new social media platform which has corridors. So you imagine basically if you're at university back in the day, or you're at a house party, you're walking down this corridor and you hear music or you hear laughter or you hear talking, and you can just dip into that room, and that room sort of is around you. It's like it's the fact you're just all doing this. Like just don't look at the screen. And it looks at,
so it's like being in halls.
Look, yeah, halls. HALLS, yeah, halls. Yeah. And it basically it works around your algorithm. So whatever you're interested in, those rooms morph, and everybody's corridor is slightly different. And that's what I would say Clubhouse is all about.
Perfect. Paul Holbrook, have you lost your life in and I said life then and not wife. Have you lost your life in Clubhouse?
Nearly both. It is very dangerous. You could lose your life in Clubhouse. But what's particularly ironic is not only have we spent our whole last 10 days on Clubhouse, we've now taken a little bit of time out to go into a live environment to talk about losing our life on Clubhouse. So yeah, but I've been very cunning and clever. I've started to listen to Clubhouse while I'm doing housework. I've done a lot more housework this week than I've ever done in my life. And I've also, if I'm listening to it for personal use, I go into the garage and get on my bike on a turbo trainer. So I've exercised every lunchtime this week.
Oh wow! So you're cleaner and you're healthier because of Clubhouse. Is that what you think is the main benefits of Clubhouse for you?
Yes, those are the main personal benefits. If I was being completely selfish, but no, I think so. I would extend what Pete said about Clubhouse. So when somebody says to me, "What is it?" I say, "It's live, interactive podcasting." So imagine listening to a podcast. You can't record it. So imagine listening to a podcast. It's like a program, like a radio almost, but you can literally go and chip in and get on the stage and talk and become part of it as well. That's what I talk. That's what I refer to it as. So from a benefit there, I've heard people say you can't outsource it to anybody. You can't give it to a VA. It's only you on it. You can talk to people on it. You can hear whether somebody's being genuine on it. You can hear more in the voice than you can if you like do a text. So I think it is a who sneezed. So yeah, I think you can get that out of it, and I think you create more qualified connections. I would say that's what I think you can get out of it.
Perfect. And Bassadone, the Cadman.
Who are you?
Did I say your surname correctly then? Bassadone. Okay. So from your perspective, as a man in the events world,
well, thanks for asking, Lee. I would call it like an audio webinar, an audio seminar.
What's the difference between a webinar and a seminar?
Not a webinar. Ignore and pretend I never said webinar. An audio seminar. So for me, if you're going to like a conference and you're going to have one or two people up on stage and you're going to go and watch a talk, but you do get the opportunity to raise your hand and ask some questions. And I feel like it's a bit like that, only a little bit more interactive, because not only do you just get to raise your hand, get given the mic and say, look, I've got a question for you. You actually get to go up on the stage, stand there, sit with them, have a chat with them.
Perfect. So, in fact, actually, the Cadman, Adrian has asked us a question. He says, you mentioned algorithms directing you to rooms. Is Clubhouse as bad as Facebook to mislead people regarding what is a fact?
I think it's unfair to call it as bad as Facebook, because it's really early days. I believe it really only kicked off beginning of last year. It's only got just over 1 million people on the platform at the moment, and there's some features in there which they're there but they're not even using for the algorithms, like what your interests and things like that. So they're still developing that, and I think at the moment, it's probably fair to say it isn't. I don't know about you guys, but it's not accurate, is it? With some of the it's not perfect, like the hallway, as Pete was saying, it isn't perfect. You do have to do a lot of scrolling to find the really good stuff. So. But when you find the good stuff, it's so much better than any other platform, in my view.
Yeah, and gel, mousse or spray on your hair?
Nothing. I know it's hard to believe, but absolutely nothing.
It's so shiny.
Look, it's
so
just
shiny.
It's fluffy and
so glow.
Amazing. So Pete can, the laughter man. How do you see yourself using a Clubhouse for what you do?
So I've done this. Started doing this little thing where I go into rooms and I put my hand up, and you basically you build out your bio. You build out a bio, and in the bio it says what you do. And one of the things I put, my third line is to say I'm on a mission to bring laughter to every Clubhouse room. So I just pop in and get up onto stage, and I'll ask a question that's geared around whatever. So I've worked out like rebranding for a start, or not rebrand, but like positioning. Whereas before I used to have a yellow flag. Now I don't have a yellow flag. I'm a bit more professional now, and that was a bit of advice, and I thought that was a nice bit of advice. And but then I say, do you mind if I bring some laughter to the room? And I do a laughter exercise there. And I think the biggest room I've had laughing was around 80, 90 people laughing, which was really, really nice. And then people started following me. And I think the long game plan is to create some laughter yoga rooms where people can come in and have sort of a 10-minute laugh whether it's a daily basis. There's definitely some other laughter yogis on there that I'm starting to connect with already. So, yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Pete? You've used this word a couple of times, yogi, and it immediately makes me think of a cartoon character. Can you explain?
Mr. Parker Render, sir. That's a lovely pretty basket. Hey, boo-boo. Hey, yogi. Yes, boo-boo.
Wow. You had to ask. You had to ask, didn't you, Rupert?
Yeah, wow.
So I think yogi is
You lost it, Lee. You lost it.
Yogi is a bear. I know someone you all know. Yogi bear. Yogi. No? Okay. Right.
Whoa. Okay, so yeah. Thanks, Peter, and Rupert. Thanks for the additional question.
No more questions from me, Your Honour.
So, Paul,
Yes.
Tracy has said a couple of things in the comments. And she says it's got some rubbish on there, but like a lot of things, they kick you off. And in fact, here, sorry, don't misbehave. Or they kick you off, and you've got to be careful who you invited you, careful with your invites and all stuff like that. What's all that about?
So there is a lot of rubbish on there, but then there's a lot of rubbish on any social media platform. You go onto Facebook, you go onto Twitter, you go onto Instagram, you go onto LinkedIn. There's rubbish on LinkedIn as well. Let's not pretend there's not. So there is. But what I particularly like about the founders of Clubhouse is that they've tried to create it in such a way that the whole thing is driven around who you follow. So who you see in your hallway, which is the kind of original screen, and who you get notified about is based on who you follow. And so if you follow, I mean, I've got a comment that I say is you get the rooms that you deserve. So if you choose to follow anybody and you just kind of subscribe to this whole, I want to get loads of followers and I want to follow loads of people, you'll see rubbish. How can I take this seriously? But for me, I think I've got about 200 followers, but I only follow about 80 people. Whereas I've seen on there a lot of people tend to follow a lot more than they are followed by. So that's the thing for me. I think if you're very careful about who you follow, I think that's the best thing. The other thing I would say about throwing off, so at the moment it's an invite-only platform. So you have to be, stop it, Rupert. You have to be invited to the platform. And if you invite somebody to the platform, their name gets attached to your profile. It says that you were introduced by this person. And I've heard stories that people have misbehaved on the platform. So they've been disrespectful or whatever. And the owners of it have not only thrown them out, but they have thrown out the people that introduced them. So be careful who you give your invites to.
Rupert, do you have anything to say on that?
I love that you went to Rupert.
I was a bit worried about you following too many people in case
somebody throws me off.
It's all sorts of trouble.
Oh God, this is a professional platform. We're not on Clubhouse now. We're on. Let's keep it professional.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, no, perfect. So, if there's people there that no, other way, Paul, other way.
Yeah, it's the other way, Paul.
It's the other way.
I'm trying to push your logo out of my room.
Oh, I see what you're doing. So there's going to be people that are in the waiting list for what should people do before they join or when they join? And what's the first few tips? Pete can.
Don't listen to him. He has no idea.
I think it's the first thing you want to do beforehand is definitely get an idea of what a profile should look like. I think that's really useful because I spent sort of 5 to 7 days building my profile out. And also speaking to a couple of people that are on Clubhouse, I think it's really, really important because to get an idea of what they're utilizing the platform for, I think that's really, really good. And the other tip I would say is make sure you've got an Apple phone as well. I think that's quite a useful tip because it's not on Android, is it, Ruth?
Yeah, or an iPad.
Thank you.
Paul, can I add something to the bio thing?
Yes, go for it.
So for any of you who are on it or who aren't on it yet, when you look into Clubhouse and you look at somebody's bio, you're only really presented with the top 3 lines of their bio. And I think it's a really good technique. You'll hear these people called moderators, and they're the people that run rooms. And one of the techniques that they've picked up on is that because when people go up onto stage, there are a contingent that want to just talk about themselves and say, oh, hi, I'm Paul. I run a company called Diary Detox. And before you know it, you've lost the room. What they do is as they bring people up on stage, they tap on their profile and they read out the first 3 lines of their bio. And that introduces them and helps them feel as if they don't have to introduce themselves. So what I would say is when filling out your bio, make sure the top 3 lines read as you would want somebody to introduce you if they were going to introduce you and you not do it yourself.
And would you say you would keep that the same content no matter what room you're in?
I would, but I'm not thinking about using it. We were all in a room. We hosted a room yesterday, and there were some people in there saying that they're sometimes on it for personal reasons, and sometimes they want to do it for an interest that they have in dogs, or some people want to do it for their business. And then you can feel there that what they're really asking for is, can they have 3 different personalities on that platform? You can only have one at the moment. You can have one log on. So I suppose you can do it that way, but I don't want to do it that way.
Yeah, amazing. Perfect. So, okay. So one thing that I think has worked really well is just the power of connection really quickly. So when you're on other social medias, it's like words get typed and it takes a long time to build that connection. But what's happening on Clubhouse is, because it's by voice, you get an instant connection. So, Rupert, have you made an instant connection with anybody on Clubhouse yet?
No.
Pete, have you?
Yes.
Paul, have you?
Yes.
I had a great. In fact, just before this one, I had a great. I popped into a room. Someone pinged me, and they'd gone, but I stayed anyway, about meditation wellness, and I learned something. I thought, well, there's only about 5 or 6 people in the room, and wasn't really sure. We had a chat about meditation, and then I learned something, and we had an instant connection. Now we're following each other, but it's great, isn't it? Because you're talking to the real person, and it's them. And I mean, I would say I've connected with you guys, Pete, less so much, but
you got away with that. I'll tell you what, when you said you made no connection, I was getting really offended.
Apart from Pete
and Paul.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying connected with you and Lee, just not Pete.
Oh, okay.
Because me and Rupert have known each other for at least 20 years, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, you were already connected. So it's like this call here is the first time that I've ever seen Rupert's face.
Yeah.
Properly.
It's weird, isn't it? And we've been talking for like weeks. It's like you're my pen pal, isn't it? And we've just been maybe like not a pen pal, because that's like written, isn't it? What's like an audio pen pal? That'll do.
Yeah, so it's been like that, and then finally I've got to meet you, and you look a lot different to your profile picture. Was that intentional, Rupert?
Yeah, well, it's really hard to radiate a sun from behind me all the time.
I don't think he was talking about the sun, Rupert.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Paul? What are your next steps on Clubhouse?
My next steps on Clubhouse, well, other than just use it, my next significant step, I suppose, on Clubhouse is to run my own room.
Well, what's a room?
Oh, see, look, he's good. He planted those questions in there. He's got me asking the questions. So a room. So if you continue Pete's analogy, where he's talking about walking down a hallway, and you hear something going on in a room. So basically, anybody on Clubhouse is a content creator, potentially. You can create a room. That's kind of the main thing that you do. And so, a room is basically something where a content creator, so me, will create it with a specific purpose in mind. And the room has a name, which basically gives it a theme, I suppose. And the idea is that anybody that follows me will be notified, if they've asked to be notified, that I've started a room. They will see the name of it, they will see when I've scheduled it, and they can put it into their calendar. And then when it's due to happen, they will have the choice of joining that room, in which they will find me talking about a topic. And then at certain points, people will be invited up to the stage to either ask a question, give their opinion, or present with a problem.
Paul, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is it schedule or schedule?
See, it's schedule, but I got into the whole Americanized thing of calling it a schedule.
Well, no, as I understand it, schedule is the Americanized.
Oh, is it?
I believe so.
Oh,
I don't know. Well, Leah is just joined the room. I don't know if she's still there, but she knows much more about the English language than I do.
Well, everybody knows more than I do about it, so that's fine. So that's what a room is. So I'm going to create my own room. That's the next logical step, because I've moderated rooms with you guys, you reprobates. and it's now time to create a serious room about serious issues for serious people.
Not inviting us then.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Pete Can, is Clubhouse a fad or is it here to stay?
It's definitely here to stay. Definitely. I think, like you say, the connections and just the way it's serendipity is the word that keeps getting mentioned in some of the rooms that I've been in, and it's all about sharing and just giving and pointing people in the right direction. So I've had, like I said, just earlier about the fact that no flag, about my Instagram. I've had a 30-minute coaching call about my Instagram to get that pop in. I've had a 30-minute call about my ideal customer. And this is all stuff off the back of Clubhouse where people have said, Pete, I really like your vibe. I like what you're doing. I really like the way you did that. And I'd love to offer some time to you. And it's not like that top of the funnel thing where they're going, I want to give you 30 minutes of my time and then buy my course. That's not happened. It's just genuine. It's just genuine conversations. And I think it's really here to stay. I just hope that they keep that lovely vibe. And I think if you keep into the smaller rooms and you keep the authentic conversations going, I think it's going to be here for a while.
Perfect. Paul Holbrook, you attended the town hall session on Sunday. What's the future for Clubhouse?
The future for Clubhouse is that they are going to spend more time they've had a lot of people request things from them, like being able to create clubs, and clubs are groups of rooms, so people can have their club where all their rooms come to, and they can potentially monetize that in the future. But they're tending to kind of deprioritize that stuff. What they're focusing on the moment is the user experience of the main platform, which I think is a really good idea. So, for example, at the moment, your hallway only contains the rooms of people who you follow. But when you register, you get to identify all these interests that you have. So at the moment, your hallway is not influenced, and what you follow is not influenced by the topics that you said are of interest. That will come at some point, but not yet. They're going to prioritize it on that kind of stuff first of all, which is definitely the right solution, I think.
Perfect. Rupert, when was the last time somebody sat in that seat over your left shoulder, right shoulder, whichever shoulder it is?
That one.
Yep.
This morning.
Thank you very much. Oh, no, very good, very good. And it's important to move, isn't it? There's benefits to movement. Pete Can. So we've spoke about Clubhouse, we've spoke about rooms, but what's a club?
So a club is
Go on.
You can do this. You got this.
The club is basically a place where you can host rooms, and you can bring other people into your club, and they can host rooms under your club. And basically, say you've got 1,000 people in your club. When a room is posted live, you can then invite those 1,000 people to that room. Would I be right in thinking that is correct? Because you caught me on the spot there, boys.
I didn't catch you. It's him.
What do you think, Rupert?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rupert's in agreement with you. You are right. Thank you for your input, Rupert.
The depth of insight is amazing.
Next time we do one of these, it's going to be on Rupert's profile, okay? Amazing. So, so we've each got. Hang on.
Ask me a question I do know.
Yeah. No, I'm going to. So Rupert, do you have two thumbs? Because I've never seen your hands before. So can I see your hands? Have you got two thumbs? All right. Okay. Perfect. So what I'd like us to do then is just vote in terms of how we feel about Clubhouse at the minute with how it's like this or this or this or this, or like how are we feeling about it now? Right now, this moment in time, where are we after 3? 1,
After
2.
3.
I mean, you've kind of given it away already, Rupert. Your answer, haven't you? Wait for the question, Rupert. Wait for the question. 1, 2, 3, go. Alrighty. So Pete Can is 2 thumbs in the air. Everybody else is 1 thumb up, 1 thumb across.
Pete's kind of not fully up though, unless you've got funny thumbs.
Yes.
Funny thumbs.
Yeah. So Pete Can, why are you there?
I'm there because
in general,
it's just because this is where I live. It's my house, obviously. Why are you there?
Don't know.
He lives in a green room.
You started to wonder.
Yeah. I woke up one morning after a really rough night, and I was here.
With any monkeys or anything?
Oh, really?
Perfect.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, so why are you there, Pete?
Why was I there? Because I think it's a time sucker. It basically can take your time away. I think when I was all in last week, as you boys know, there was an all-nighter I did where I couldn't sleep, and literally I think I was on our show and I couldn't even string 2 words together. And but I made some good.
The best of times, isn't it, Pete?
It is. I just think if as long as I know the purpose that I'm going to be using it for, I've made some good connections already. I just need to be more purposeful, not forget about the platforms that are working for me at the moment, that are paying me the money. And yeah, that's why I was there.
Perfect. And we just had Adrian has just commented saying that you've made me smile, not fully convinced to try Clubhouse as yet. Rupert, convince him.
I know. I saw that. I thought, wow, we need to turn this around. I think that's because we've probably got a bit of Clubhouse fatigue. I don't know about anyone else, but we've been on it every single day of as many hours as we can possibly squeeze in it, and maybe we're a bit exhausted by all the energy that comes out of it. And it's like anything, it isn't all happy and wonderful, and there are some rooms which are frustrating or don't add value. But as we said before, when you find that room and you get that connection, there is nothing like it on any other social media platform. And so it is worth it. It's worth cutting through the crap. And it's also worth holding on to, because I'm convinced they're going to improve the platform, how we can find rooms that are more what we want to find. The clubs, I think, will be improved. I think and how we can find, again, the content that we want to find within the clubs and the people. I think that's all going to be improved. This is beta mode still. So to be here and to be an early adopter is the best possible chance of making the most of it.
Perfect. Rupert, you've not said a lot, but you've got a lovely voice. Paul Holbrook, from your perspective, why were you like this?
Well, I think it's brilliant. I think potentially it's brilliant. And I think if you use it in the right way, it's brilliant. And the reason that thing was because if you're not careful, it can consume you. And you can get consumed. You can get on a rabbit hole of rooms just listening to stuff. I mean, it's quite, what's the word? It's whatever an audible version of voyeuristic is. It's quite curious. You listen to these conversations and go, really? And that can draw you in, and you can, before you know it, an hour's gone and you've been listening to utter drivel or just some really curious thing that isn't really relevant to you, but you just can't stop listening. So I think if you, and I do this, if you plan in when you use it and have an understanding about how you're going to use it, and I completely accepted it in the first week, I was just going to listen to it whenever I wanted to, because I think when you're introduced to something new, you need to just consume it as much as you can, see what works, see what doesn't work, etc. And then you learn after that first week and you go, right, now I know what I'm going to do next. And so it's be careful, but I think the potential is fantastic. And it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. Did somebody say it was 3,500 users worldwide at the beginning of December and
yes.
1.3 million in January?
Yeah.
Is that really from that? Jeez. That's crazy. I was just noticing. I think Adrian was a little bit worried because he can get a bit obsessive, he was saying, and worries that he'll just go all in like Pete did. And I think that's entirely possible. You will, but exactly like Pete did, you need to think about why you're using any social media platform. Is it just for kicks? Is it because for your own personal growth and development, which I think Clubhouse can do as well? Do you think you can make money out of it, which I think Clubhouse, Pete's proving that it definitely has the capacity to earn money, but you need to balance it with what else you're doing on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, what other ones you're using. Like Pete, I make money out of using LinkedIn. And so I do need to be careful and you need to make sure you get that balance right. But sometimes you've got to invest before you get your return.
So do you think it's the Rupert effect? So it started with 3,500 at the beginning of December and then 1.2 million at the beginning of January, which coincided with Rupert, with you joining. Do you think it's fair to say that is the impact that you've had on Clubhouse?
I think it's my my radiating authenticity that's brought the millions flocking.
Yeah, all from your profile picture. And the thing is, we're all nodding in agreement. So honestly, I think on behalf of Clubhouse, its users, thank you, Rupert.
You're welcome.
Well, I would correct one thing. It hasn't bought the millions flocking. It bought the million flocking. It's only gone to 1.3 million. So come on.
So far.
So
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, no. So conscious of the time, and there's rooms that need attendees, and there's 4 attendees here that's not in a room currently. Do you have any closing words?
I'm in a room.
You're in a room.
Oh, no.
Really? So I'll just quickly go around the room. Pete Can, any closing words for Clubhouse, your experience, or anything you want to say?
I just think my closing words is get on it, because it's really valuable. And just like this morning, I woke up a little bit low, if I'm honest, and I got into Clubhouse. I was in a room when I went for a little wander, and I felt really upbeat afterwards. And that was because of all the energy that was flying in there. So the conversations are really, really golden.
Perfect. And then Paul Holbrook, any words from you?
Yeah, I'd say definitely get on it. Ration yourself, or just accept you're going to use it without limit for the first week, and then have a bit of a reflection at the end of the week and go, right, how do I want this to go forward? But definitely get on it, because you won't see the potential if you don't have a look in the box. Boom.
Yeah. No.
Boom.
Yeah, completely. Okay, so just yeah. Well. So I guess from my perspective as well, if anybody does have any questions about Clubhouse and stuff, there's 4 people that are tagged in this video. You might choose to ask any or none of us anything that you want. So just reach out if you do. And I think just to finish, I think it's only right to finish with Rupert. Any closing words, Rupert, before I hit end broadcast?
I think you need to make sure you find out how to use it. So you join people that are already on there, speak to them on there, and get shown around. I think that's really important. If you invite people in, show them around.